I hate getting my upgrades scrapped. I know that's a very whiny attitude, and there was even an article recently released from Wizards of the Coast, with which I will happily disagree, that said upgrade removal was a necessary part of the game. The whiny part of my opinion is that natural annoyance with not getting to use those abilities of my cards, which I was banking on when I played them. So I get it. Everyone wants to use their cards, everyone gets their upgrades scrapped. Get used to it. Whatever. But there are other factors here which don't need any apology at all. The first has nothing to do with game strategy. Upgrades help you articulate the story of your game. Grenade launchers aren't just the best weapon because nothing short of sabotaged armaments or an inventive use of bolster will prevent a player from using them to their full effect. They're an emphatic statement. Somebody's about to get smoked. Upgrade removal walks the story backwards. Trailbreaker's going to tank an attack from Devastator with his force field. No, wait. Trailbreaker doesn't get to have a force field. Force fields don't exist. The game suddenly feels like it's going backwards instead of forwards. Of course, there's no use denying that scrapping a force field tends to move the game forward in a very real way, but not thematically. Or maybe I need to use my imagination differently. The other reason is directly related to the design of this game. A player is allowed one upgrade and one action each turn, and a player starts with only 3 cards in an opening hand, and only draws 1 card each turn. There are many cards in the game which change these rules directly, but that's a baseline for each player. This limited card play amplifies the effectiveness of upgrade removal, to the point that the strategy almost becomes an indispensable component of any competitive deck strategy. The list of cards available for upgrade removal, from off of characters and directly from the opponent's hand, is horrific. The result is that the use of one's upgrades is less reliable than the use of one's actions. This is one of several reasons why Living Weapon has proven so inferior to Battlefield Legend. And Arrogant Ruler, so inferior to Trusted Lieutenant for that matter. But upgrade removal, I'd like to argue, is only almost indispensable to competitive deck strategy. Of course it's powerful, effective, proven. I can't argue against any of that, or it wouldn't bother me so much. Nor do I accuse it of being cheap or unimaginative. All I want to say is that it isn't a necessity. If you ever find yourself looking for space in your deck list, there are some benefits to removing some of the regular standbys. Ramming speed, bashing shield, vaporize, smelt. So, firstly, upgrade removal is, broadly speaking, a strategy of negation. It sets your opponent's rhythm, as we mentioned, backwards, but it doesn't directly put your character's rhythm forward. Let's look at bashing shield as an example, because it would seem to be one of the best counters to my argument. So yes, admittedly, scrapping one of your opponent's armors inherently allows your characters to do more damage. The end result seems to be a step forward for your characters. The most dramatic proof of this is the above-mentioned example of scrapping an opponent's force field. In that case, the effectiveness of bashing shield is scalable. You were limited to doing only 4 damage, now the sky is the limit. But even bashing shield accomplishes this feat by negating one of your opponent's card plays, not in fact by adding to your own offense. Why should this matter? Because your card's power is entirely dependent on your opponent's strategy. Not every deck uses force fields. Practically every deck uses armors of some kind, but those armors don't always get put out there. And at its core, Bashing Shield is an upgrade which gives your character +1 armor. It cannot add to your offensive firepower, unless you're using Demolisher. The problem of negation becomes more apparent when we look at upgrade scrapping cards with less impressive track records, which is to say, every upgrade scrapping card without a green icon. Every card in one's deck has the potential to be drawn at any point in the game, which makes situationally dependent cards a somewhat risky proposition. Sometimes, drawing into the option to negate your opponent's cards comes too little, too late. You need a leap into battle to finish the job, and you've drawn a Vaporize. Great for getting rid of Nemesis Prime's Energon Axe, not great for getting rid of Nemesis Prime himself. Eschewing the cards necessary for upgrade removal in favor of more firepower can add scary consistency to your deck. It's hard to draw a card for the wrong situation if nearly every card in your deck is meant specifically for the benefit of your own characters. Secondly, the plethora of upgrade scrapping options has sharpened players across the board. On the one hand, we've learned how and when to play certain upgrades to get some use out of them before they get dismantled. We watch for our opponent's green icons, we give priority to weapons, we save up our extra paddings until we can play more than one. So while upgrade removal remains powerful, it isn't unanswerable. On the other hand, our collective wariness, our expectation that our upgrades are going down, has already limited some of the more powerful upgrade strategies that we might otherwise dare to try. Have you ever played a grenade launcher a turn early to take full advantage of your card plays, and then allowed yourself to attack with a different character? You probably don't try that anymore. The point is, even without upgrade scrapping in your deck, the common game experience of upgrade scrapping has already given you some of the benefits of that strategy. Finally, if it's only to give yourself a challenge, going even a few games without upgrade removal can quickly show you alternate ways of thinking about your opponent's upgrades. Why bother scrapping Erratic Energy Grenade if it's already dealing direct damage to one of your opponent's characters? Or if an opponent's armor is going to save their character through one more attack, maybe it's an opportunity to switch targets. Or maybe that marksmanship in your hand is actually as good as a disarm. Overall, for me, it's a matter of personal preference. Obviously, there are hundreds of competitive decks which incorporate upgrade scrapping, but I disagree with the idea that it's an absolute necessity. Thanks for watching.